Yo, what is good everybody? It's your boy the Strongest Wizard, and tonight is indeed fight night, and we have ourselves here another OP07 match. We got Doffy on the left hand side, and we have RP Law on the right here. We're gonna start things off with the turn 1 Gordon. I feel like that's a rather safe move, and you kind of play around the pudding as well, so I definitely don't mind this play at all. But if we take a look at Keith's hand here, we have two 3-cost Doffys, 2 Kaidos, a Gravity Blade, as well as a pudding. The hand is pretty good other than 2 Kaidos here. So we're going to see a 7k swing going into life, and it looks like we might see a trigger. But quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is DXN Outpost, DXN Provisions, the only place where I get all my sealed product. And guys, right now they have a ton of sealed as well as singles for the OP card game. So if you're interested in some One Piece product, check out the link below. And yes, I was correct. We did see a trigger. It was not a bluff. It's actually a Gravity Blade. And Gravity Blade's gonna go ahead and bottom deck the Gordon. Now, I feel like that's rather tempting because you don't have to worry about a Gordon for the rest of the game. But at the same time, that's a Gravity Blade. Gravity Blade gets rid of 2 characters, a card that's essentially anti-RP Law. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and see if it really pays off, honestly. And of course, we're going to start things off with the 3-cost Doffy. Now, if we take a look at Keith's hand, we did end up drawing the 4/6 vanilla Gecko Moria. And we know this because of the handy dandy handy cams. That was a lot to say. But if we take a look at RP Law's hand on the right hand side, it looks like we have, in order, we have Ain, Sanji, Reiju, Bon Clay, Race Max, as well as the Zorojuro. Now I do know that he did draw that Zorojuro off the top of his deck, a card that's okay in this matchup. I think you have to play it on 3, and if you don't play it on 3, you kind of don't play it for the rest of the game, just because of the removal that Doffy does technically have. And I'd rather just probably keep the 1k counter regardless. We're gonna go ahead and see exactly what happens here. But RP Law is at 5 Dawn, and we have some plays. Of course, we have that 5-cost Kid as well, and it looks like we're kind of getting our hand ready for a particular type of play that this RP Law is eyeing here. So we're gonna go ahead and tap 5 for the Kid, and then we're gonna go ahead and bottom 3. We're not gonna bottom deck anything, but we are gonna go ahead and actually play the Reiju. Now we are only at 5 cards in hand, so we are gonna be able to draw 2 cards. Now, of course, I really appreciate all of these players using the card stand. I just really appreciate it. I know it's kind of a hassle sometimes, but we're swinging 5k into life. I feel like if we swung 5k, we probably should have just done it before, just in case we see possibly another Gravity Blade or something obnoxious like that in life. But this 5k swing probably will get countered regardless. I'm not sure if Keith wants to drop down to 3 life this early, especially with a 5k swing. So he gives him the 3-cost Doffy, and actually we're gonna go ahead and tap 1 for the Gordon and then pass the turn. And it looks like this Law player is actually trying to play around pudding. Now, me, along with any other player, have definitely had nightmares of pudding hitting the board and then just completely wiping our hands, especially as a black yellow Luffy player as myself. Yeah, I've got some I got some pudding nightmares, man. But if we take a look at Keith's hand, we draw into another Gecko Moria. So hilarious how many Gecko Morias are in this deck. I think there's bound to be at least 7 or 8. 4 copies of the one that brings out a 7 warlords from your trash back to your hand, as well as a couple copies of this vanilla. And I think Gecko Moria is such a funny character. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see what happens here. 5k swing with that Doffy. Are we baiting here this Kid? We're gonna go ahead and counter out of it with the 1k counter, not giving him the block here. And it looks like Keith is debating how exactly he wants to proceed. We have 5 Dawn, we have 3 4-cost characters in our hand, so we can swing 6k plus play a 4/6 vanilla. That wouldn't be too bad. Or maybe we can actually get the Doffy from the trash. Now the only thing is here is that next turn Gravity Blade is live, so maybe he doesn't really want to do all that, and he'd rather just swing big, which we just swing 9k into life. We're gonna use leader ability here. We're gonna play out the Jinbei. I do obviously like this play a lot more. It's definitely way better than playing out the vanilla, but we are swinging, of course, 9k. We're gonna go ahead and decide which Gecko Mori we want to play. We're gonna play the vanilla actually, and then we're gonna pass the turn, and of course that does connect. I always do forget how long it takes sometimes, but we did draw the Gordon off of our life and then draw into a Kitten Killer. And if we talk about this RP Law's hand, it's pretty busted. I don't think they've missed a single thing. We have Sachi penguins, we have Reijus, we have Bonclays, Kid Killers, plenty of one cost characters, which we do see here. We saw the Raise Max hitting the gym bait, and now a 2k swing, Gordon ability minus 3k on the Gecko Moria, now becoming a 3 cost character. We probably will play another character because since we have 4 Dawn active, and then use the leader ability. Just a completely nasty turn that this RP Law player has constructed, and we're gonna see exactly which 4 cost character we are gonna play. I wouldn't mind honestly playing Bon Clay or Ein. I'm not sure if it really matters, honestly. We're gonna ramp regardless, but we're gonna go ahead and play out the Bon Clay. We're gonna ramp 1 off the Bon Clay, and then we're gonna use leader ability here to bottom deck the Gecko Moria. We're gonna minus 3 Dawn, of course. We're gonna play out the Sachi and Penguin. We're gonna ramp 2 Dawn as rested, and then use Kid ability here to ramp 1 as active. Now, of course, we do have 2 characters that still can attack. We're gonna swing 5k with the Reiju over the Doffy, and it does go down. And now we see a huge 7k swing going into life, and we're gonna go ahead and pass the turn. I feel like we could have swung with the Kid, honestly. I guess he's afraid that it is gonna go away, but I feel like if he has Gravity Blade, he just hits it regardless, right? If we have Kid on the board, it's just a free 6k swing that could have been useful, you know. But regardless, here we most likely will see the Gravity play here. The Gravity Blade. I imagine we do Gravity Blade first, and then we swing 6k into the Reiju. That's a good possibility. I don't think we have to go for life. I don't think we can afford it, honestly, especially with 2 Kaido in our hand. But we are going to get rid of this Bon Clay as well as this 5 cost Kid with that Gravity Blade, and now we're swinging 6k into the Reiju. And if we look at Law's hand here, we only have 1 card in our hand that has counter. The rest are no counter. Can we talk about Ein, man? Come on, man. I feel like Ein is such a dead card sometimes, like 90% of the time. You want to see it early, and you don't really want to see it ever again. But we are going to go ahead and just let it go and then pass the turn. We're prioritizing the fact that we have some counter in our hand. We still have only 1 card in our hand with counter since we did draw into another Ein. But also, we could be prioritizing the fact that it's a blocker, right? So, especially the fact that it's a 6k blocker. I mean, a 6 cost. That's extremely relevant. So we are going to swing 7k into life here. We're going to give him the 2 and the 1. The pudding finally going away out of hand. 7k swing into life. He's going to go ahead and take it, dropping down to 2 life. And we see another Gecko Moria coming into our hand. That's pretty hilarious. And with 4, we're going to go ahead and play out the Ein that I was just bashing. We're going to ramp 1 as rested. We're going to go ahead and minus 3 Dawn, use leader ability. We're going to play out the Ein to ramp 1 more. So technically speaking, that Ein only costed us 1 Dawn. That's kind of how I like to look at it. We got 2 Dawn off both Eins, and we minus 3. So yeah, in that turn, we only minus 1 Dawn to play a 4 cost character, right? So not too bad. Now 5k swing over the Sachi and Penguin, and we see the counter finally, and now we see the 10 cost Kaido. Now for the most part, I think this is okay. Kind of. I'm a little bit scared if I'm Doffy, just because this deck does run a lot of bricks as well as a ton of 2Ks. So we're gonna go ahead and see exactly what we did get. We got a Perona, 2K Law, Boa Hancock, as well as another Gecko Moria. So I'm sorry, another Kaido, not Gecko Moria. So we see a 7k swing once again, and we're gonna see 3 cards out of hand coming out, and that was 5 cards out of hand for the turn so far. And that's pretty incredible, honestly. We still have 2 more attacks that we still have to deal with if we are Doffy. And now we see a 7k swing going into life. It does connect. And now we see a 6k swing going into life. And we're going to go ahead and give him 2 cards out of hand. And now we use a leader ability here. It looks like they did try to make it a 9k swing for the final, kind of banking on the fact that they didn't have a 2k counter, which they didn't. But this 9k swing does go into life, and he's gonna go ahead and grab the Boa Hancock off the top and then pass the turn. And Keith draws into, you guessed it, Gecko Moria. 12k swing going into Kid does go down, 5 into Ein does go down, and another Kaido. Yes, you guys heard me correctly, another Kaido. This is absolutely insane. I really hope Keith just drew into 4 2Ks, because even then, I don't think it's going to help you, bud. We're going to go ahead and see exactly what happens. And I believe Law is at 8 Dawn now? Yep, 8 Dawn. This could be a 13k swing along with 2 5ks, and you pretty much chalk it up as taking the dub. But we're gonna go ahead and see if we can actually counter out of this. 7k swing going into life. We see the 2k counter as well as the 1k, another 7k swing going to life. We give him 3 cards out of our hand, and now this is a 9k swing, and yes, Law does end up taking it. Thank you guys so much for checking this channel as well as this video. I really do appreciate it, and stay tuned because I have a ton of new OP07 content coming out soon. See ya.